Good evening and welcome. I'm the Velvet Joker, aka Rich Davis, and right besides me is
Cliff on Comics. And this is our very first episode of Behind the Panels.
So today on Behind the Panels, we're sitting down with one of the most influential storytellers in modern comics. Eisner-winning writer whose work has reshaped Wonder Woman, Batman, redefined Supergirl, and is now forming the backbone of the new DC universe. From Mr. Miracle to Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow to the upcoming Lantern series, Tom King has become the architect of emotionally rich, character-driven superhero storytelling. So tonight, we're diving into the craft, the pressure, and the wild ride to bring these words to life. This is Mr. Tom King.
Welcome.
What absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for doing this podcast. Thank you for supporting this medium I love. Thank you for all the hyperbole of that introduction, which is none of it is true, but I appreciate it nonetheless and will tell my children what you said just to lie to them in the nicest way possible about their father. Thank you. That's very kind.
You're very humble. You're very humble.
You are humble. I mean, listen, there's a moment in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow.
You've seen it? How did man! First the Lanterns trailer, now everything's leaking.
Now there's a moment in the comic of Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow where the young woman she's helping, I forgot everyone's name now because
Ruthie.
Ruthie
hard to pronounce because I spelled it weird, but Ruthie.
Yeah, but Ruthie is asking her about Krypton, about her past, and she starts by saying, "I was just a girl," and I love that line. Because for me as a reader, it kind of solidified why she is Supergirl, right? Or she, where I was like, no, I want to be Superwoman. Like she's Supergirl, she's still that girl in her mind, right? And I really love that defining moment. Plus, what you did with Comet.
Oh my goodness!
My God, the tears that I had. So I just want to share that with you before we get straight into it, because I know we have many questions lined up and we're going to try not to take up your entire night.
that means the absolute world to me. I feel like one of the little hidden gem, but one of the things I planted throughout that was to play on that title, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, which obviously is a title that has a contradiction in it. And so you see little Easter eggs throughout the book playing on that theme of sort of what it means to be a child, what it means to be an adult, and what it means to have had trauma as a child that you bring with you into your adulthood, and how that will always sort of tether you to who you were, in both good ways and bad.
Yeah. So, and it's one of the things that I love about Supergirl that makes her unique from Superman. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. She's the best.
She is, and you touched on it, but also important that with so much power that they have good hearts and good spirits,
One of the wonderful curses of that book, which is haunting me to this very day, is that I feel like I don't want to write Supergirl anymore. I wrote this. Here's our little $10 book that just came out.
Yes.
I can't write more. Like I feel like I don't want to touch it because I feel like I did it well, and I'm afraid if I wrote her again that I just wouldn't do as well as I did, and that just means I can't write her, and I miss writing her. So it's like it's I feel a little put in a box that I made myself, because I love that character and I wish I could do more, but I can't.
I feel like when you're inspired, the day will come.
Does inspired mean desperate to pay rent? Because I feel like that day will come someday. So,
well, I was gonna say you work in comics, so I feel like that day is every other month.
It's a good and noble point, sir. A good noble point.
But you're so busy right now, and being attached to the Kryptonians, and that fact that it has already happened. James has said that you are one of the first to have read his Superman script. What elements of that story evolved based on your notes?
Oh yeah, that's kind of like lawyer-client privilege. I'm not going to give away my conversations with guys. I will say that there was
spin it into feelings.
I will say so much of that movie was in the first draft. So much of his vision was right there. So much of his passion. I mean, the first time I ever talked to James, it was about Superman. We had a very interesting conversation where he just called me in the middle of nowhere. I never met him before. I'm like, hey, the guy who did Guardians wants to talk to you. And we talked Superman for an hour and a half. And I think it was right before he was writing that, just like big themes and stuff like that. And I just knew from that first conversation that he had that character, that he knew sort of the joy and the hope and the challenge you have to bring to make Clark into something which, again, talking about contradictions, which where we started this with Supergirl, into something that is both a symbol of perfection, but also a symbol of humanity. And humanity is not a perfect people. And to embody that bizarre multitude in one character was so hard, and that was in the original script and remained there till the end. So I'm proud to have seen that carry through.
Yeah, it was just such a tremendous film. And one of the things that I really
I'm thanking the credits. I'm very last. There's a band after me, but I'm almost all the way.
But you're there.
But
you're there.
No, I was super happy. If you it's good to be first, but you can't be first being last. At least you close out the thing.
No, if you're last, they remember you more, because when I used to do drama in middle school and high school, I always would go to the last set of auditions, so they would remember me best.
Smart, very smart. Yeah, no. Yeah. I did some work in that movie. I'm incredibly proud to have helped on making that movie a success. The first time I saw it, I'd hate to admit this, but I will admit I definitely got like some tears in my eyes, because I'm like, oh my God, look at that. We made a movie. It was amazing.
It was a beautiful thing.
If you're hearing my alarm going off, that's my reminder that I'm supposed to be on a podcast. But I think I fucking made it, alarm.
You did it!
I think we've both seen this movie at least 20 or 30 times at this point.
Oh, wow. Awesome. I love it.
Oh, wait, because you dropped an F-bomb.
If you meet me in real life, I cuss so much. I apologize.
Don't apologize. I was
raised in Los Angeles. I went to war twice. My wife says that's when it really caught up to me. But yeah, it's hard. My poor children are exposed to it so often.
Well, let me tell you, I have two friends who were actually in the Navy, and boy, do sailors truly swear like sailors.
Yes. I spent 1 year where it was a very small group of us on the Afghan Pak border, and it was a group of dudes. And boy, yeah, when I came back from that, every other word was an F word. So, and it's never quite left me.
It's all right. We won't fault you for it. Absolutely not. Let them fly. Let them fly.
I have said much worse things on this YouTube.
You look at that, how I blame my bad behavior on a war I fought in 20 years ago. Good job, Tom. Good job.
It's called PTSD. It's called trauma. And you know what? It's also called character building. So it's all the things.
It is. Or maybe it's just called lack of discipline. It's also called that.
Oh, stop. You're doing fine.
Thanks.
Now, one of the things that was incredible in the Superman movie is how clearly the film showed Clark prioritizing bystanders and animals as well, their safety during the action. It felt very true to the classic interpretation, yet a lot of people still push back. How do you think, or what drives these people to respond to Superman's compassion in this way?
You mean like the fans or like the fictional people in the movie?
The fans.
Man, I can't. Do you think I can explain how the world works? I read my fiction. I tried. It's all. Read everything I've written has been trying to explain that, and I think I've failed. Read Sheriff of Babylon or Omega Men or Animal Pound, all that stuff, trying to explain the unexplainable actions of other people. Different people have different takes on different things, and different people love different things, and some of that stuff is just situational. I think that the rule of 12 applies to a lot of people. To me, the thing you saw when you were 12, you'll always love, and you'll always love it best. And anything that challenges that thing feels almost like a personal attack on you. If you were to tell me today that Star Trek: The Next Generation sucks and Star Trek Discovery is the best thing ever, I'd be like, oh my God, how dare you attack me? That's because I saw TNG when I was 12, and it always lives perfectly in my mind. So I do think rightfully it's part of the human characters when you love something on a deep level, something else can feel like an attack on it, whether it is or not. And so you try to feel you try to remember that sometimes you're in that same situation as those people, and maybe they're not seeing what you're seeing, or maybe it's hitting on a different level than it's hitting you, and enjoy what you enjoy, and hopefully have them enjoy what they can enjoy, and we all can live on this planet in peace and love and happiness.
Wait, for someone who didn't know, that was pretty insightful analysis.
Thank you.
It truly was. It truly was. Omnibo, who's joining us from Australia, he said, "Hey, I just bought the Animal Pound in hardcover." Also, Evil Mike, who's in Colorado, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow was in my top 10 reads of 2021. Just brilliant.
Both of those comments mean a lot to me. I love that Animal Pound book with beautiful art by Peter Krause, who just freaking killed it on that book. And it's super heavy. It's a book that's not a light. I've written some light reads. Trinity, I just written is a beautiful light read. That book is heavy. So when someone buys it, I have to say thank you, because you've committed to sort of an emotional experience, and there's just a lot of words in that book. So I just, you have my appreciation for making the commitment for that book, because I think it'll be worth the ride, but it's definitely a ride. And as for Supergirl book I did with Bilquis Evely, one of the best people who's ever picked up a pen and drawn. That means the world to me. If I wrote Supergirl and Human Target back to back, two of the best things I've ever done. If I could figure out what Wheaties I was eating in 2020, I would eat them every day, because I don't know, I had some magic in those days. And I don't know what it was on the height of COVID. Maybe we got so I don't. At least we escaped that. But I'm proud of it.
You know what? 2020 was such a magical time. I still had full energy.
No regrets.
When I woke up out of bed, I didn't want to go back to bed 10 minutes later. Bruce from Kingdom of Nerds, love your Wonder Woman run. Damn that Mouse Man.
Dude, he's the worst. He's the worst Mouse Man. Oh, man. I remember when I had the thought that I was like, what's the ultimate extreme of someone who wants to control your life? They outlaw language. They only let you say like two things, one of which means you're awesome and one of which means you're watching me. And I was like, I build a whole book where someone's so controlling of you, you won't even let you speak. Can I build it? And so that was a challenge. And I hated that guy by the end. I just couldn't wait for him to punch in the face.
Oh, it was so good.
There's a scene at the end, and I had, you make plans, but as you go along, you go through the options. And I had this scene where Mouseman kidnaps Wonder Woman's baby. And they're sort of having this confrontation. He's like, I have your child. I will hurt your child if you hurt me. And I was like, where can I go with this? I was like, maybe I'll flash forward like 2 months, and like, Wonder Woman's been working for this whole time. She's to find a way to rebel. Or maybe I'll flash forward a whole year, or maybe, she backs away and comes back with the Justice League. Like all these different options of what she would do. And then I'm putting myself in Wonder Woman's, eyes. Like, what she can do, and then it just occurred to me, it's like, no, she's not going to accept those terms. She's going to punch him in his fucking face. She's like, you just threatened my kid? No. We're not negotiating. You're going down at this moment. You are in front of me, and your flesh is going to be on my knuckles. And that's the scene I wrote. Which was
Trashing Mouse Man through the walls was just epic. I think anyone who has read that would absolutely agree. It was truly epic.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
I look from Magic Lasso. Mice have ears. Mouse Man knows.
Mouse Man knows. Yeah.
And Dr. Von Hoot joining us from the UK. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is legit my top 10 greatest comic book stories, up there with Watchmen, Do a Powerbomb, and Swamp Thing, and their ilk, in my opinion.
Oh man, that is wonderful company, because I love all three of those books. Just as obviously I'm a Alan Moore clone, so or I guess an acolyte. And then Warren Johnson, that Do a Powerbomb, just fucking it hits me on my son has gotten me to be a big wrestling fan, so it just hits me on a gut level. It reminds me of hanging out with my oldest son and watching wrestling a lot. So I appreciate that.
Was that the pocket edition you popped up there before, the new backpack edition?
Yeah, that's the new backpack that just came out. It is in bookstores everywhere. I dropped it on the ground like an idiot, but yeah, that's the brand new edition. It's only $10. It's a wonderful little book, and it's wonderful to give away to kids, because it's small and compact, and like teenagers like that kind of format. Oh, here it is on the floor. Yeah. And look how pretty it is. And I have to say, some people would say, "Oh, do you want to read the art small?" The art looks really good small, because it compresses things. And so Evely's already intricate artwork looks even kind of it's bizarre. Like, even bounces off the page even more, and everything comes well. So I highly endorse it as a way to read the book for a good price in this kind of tough times with gas prices going up.
Very nice.
Mike at Evil's Comics, love for Danger Street. I want you to know that I had so much love for Danger Street that it inspired me to pick up some things to add to my collection.
You were the one person who read that book. That was.
Are you kidding? There's at least 25 of us, and we were all in group chats exploding about it, being like, I never knew I could care about Lady Cop, and I did. I didn't know a whole issue of combat could take place in the dark and be so freaking wordy, and I was captivated every freaking moment.
I look, Danger Street is probably the most underrated thing I've done, where I pour my heart out, and I love Jorge Fornes' art. Just, he's so brilliant at what he does, and he delivered so much. But yeah, that was one of the hardest books I ever read, because I mean, usually I'm writing one character. That thing had 26 characters. It all had to sort of mix and have plot lines and crash in each other and bash off. And we pushed ourselves to other limits of storytelling. And we were performing. One time, my family and I, we were at an amusement park, and it was a really rainy, horrible day. But we had traveled to go to the amusement park. We were like driving up. It was in Williamsburg, Virginia, and we showed up, and it was empty, so you could just walk on any ride. But then it started raining, so all the rides closed, so nobody could do anything. But we realized, there was like a little show that was on, and it was an Irish step dancing show. And we walked in, and we were the only people. It was probably a theater that could fit 500 people. And we kind of sat down, and there was like just us and maybe like a janitor who was cleaning up. But, they had to go on 5 times a day, and these Irish step dancers came out, and they performed like with their guts out. They were sweating. They did everything. They sung their hearts out. They gave the huge, and there's just the 5 of the little King family in the audience, and we're cheering as loud as we can, but there's nothing. And I've never appreciated a show more in my life. I was like, man, you showed up for this. That's what Danger Street felt like, man. Me and Jorge, we didn't care that there wasn't an audience. We were gonna give our all goddamn guts out and dance in the rain. So yeah, that's how I feel with Danger Street.
Listen, I love it. Look, Jeff says, hey, I'm the 26th person who loved Danger Street.
Hey man, that's an audience. That's an audience we're building.
Listen, I don't know if there was only 3,000 of us or 4,000 of us, but the fact is we were here, and we're glad DC or more listen, when either of the major two publish something for the rest of us, thank you.
Maybe one of my favorite moments I've had in the history of my comic book career was when they announced I was going to be on Batman. And it was at this big YouTube announcement where they were doing a live YouTube for the first time, because that was like a new cool thing back in 2018. And right before it started, and I was a fairly new writer. I'd only been writing comics for about a year and a half, and I was working on a few books. They're about to announce me on Batman, and Dan DiDio, the head of the company, comes up to me. And Dan DiDio is the kind of guy, he's a Brooklyn guy, he's always kind of pulling your chain. You kind of pull back, you make fun of each other. It's kind of how you have a relationship with him. So he's pulling my chain about something, I'm pulling his chain about something. And he's like, you watch out, kid, I'm going to put you on our worst selling book. And I said to him, I was like, Dan, I'm already writing your worst selling book. I write Omega Men. And it was like 2 seconds,
by the way.
2 seconds before I go on air, and he looked at me like, oh my God, who did I just give my franchise to? And like literally, like we dropped like Tom King will be on Batman. And you could just see his face realize that I was like, you've already made this mistake. The announcement's here.
I was so glad that they let you wrap Omega Man at issue 12, because me and the other 11 people who were out there clamoring for it, like we were united and strong.
That was my first time ever talking to Jim Lee, my childhood hero. He called me to tell me Omega Men had been renewed because of support on Twitter when Twitter was still a thing. Yeah.
And I got to tell you something so funny too. So Magic Lasso was in the chat, and we'll talk more about him later. I did one of his shows, and he always asks the guests to choose 3 books that they'll review. 1 book that he'll read, 1 book that his co-host will read, and 1 book that we've all read together. But I wasn't thinking that. I was like, here's 3 books. I expect you guys to read all of them, right? And I had this like theme about heroism and how it looks like from different events. And my third choice was Omega Men #1.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
And so, and through that extension, I got Ryan to read some Omega Men. So I'm very proud.
You have to remind me, because I'm on this Landry show, and people ask me if you were in Green Lantern. I always say, I wrote that 1 issue of Hal, but I forget that I wrote Kyle for those 12 issues, and he's the star of Omega Man, and then how much I loved writing Kyle in that book. So yeah, I have to remember to emphasize that.
So good.
Yeah, that first issue is it's harrowing, but I love it. I remember I was doing all sorts of weird Alan Moore tricks on that thing where I was doing every issue had parallel paneling, so the panels in page 1 matched the panels in page 20, page 2 matched 19, and kind of went because that's an omega symbol is
yeah.
And then if you look at the whole book, the layout for issue 1 matches the issue for layout 12, 2 matches 11, so it has like all these kind of panel tricks that nobody ever noticed. But I was doing them all as because I was ripping off Watchmen so much. Like when I was writing it, I said this book should be called Who Omega's the Omega Men. It's just such a Watchmen ripoff. But I was
now that you've told me that, I always felt there was something odd about the structure of the panels in that book, and I never dreamed it was. I'm going to go open up all 12 issues before I go to bed. That's.
I did. You can see the moment the book got canceled because I gave up on it for like 3 pages, and I think it's somewhere in issue around issue 5 you'll see, because that's literally when it got canceled at 3. So 5, I was writing 5 at the time. I was like, oh, nobody cares about this anymore. So it does break down a little bit in 5 and then get. So I didn't actually 100%. I mean, how many panels is that throughout the whole thing? It's got to be something like somewhere in 1,000. And so I probably pulled off 990 of them correctly. So, but I didn't quite get the 1,000 out of 1,000. So, but yeah, and then there's 2 issues because we had a I think it's issue 3 and whatever the parallel to 3 would be like 9 or something. We had a substitute artist came in, so I couldn't do the paneling. So then I did a different panel trick with that one where I did sort of this countdown thing, which you'll see where it goes. The panels kind of come in and come out, and it's cool. It starts with 9 panels, then goes to 8, and then goes to 8, and then 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then builds back up.
Talking about stories with interesting perspectives, Tom, you did a one-shot. It was Batman and Elmer Fudd.
Yes, bizarrely.
How did that story happen?
Utter fluke. We were in a bar. Again, this is another Dan DiDio story, my second Dan DiDio story, who was head of DC Comics at the time. He was he was in a very excited mood. We were in a bar in New York Comic Con, and he announced to all these DC writers that were there, I have this great idea. We're going to do Looney Tunes meets DC Comics. And I was like, oh, Dan, that sounds super fun. So we get to write like silly things where like, a Batman gets shot and his hat goes the wrong way, or Duckbill gets pot. Like we're going to bring in these, like the old Scooby-Doo cartoons where Batman entered the Scooby-Doo universe. No. The Looney Tunes are coming into our universe. And I was like, oh, that's the dumbest idea of all time. And so I turned, James Tynion was next to me at the time. And just as a joke, and not a good one, I did an Elmer Fudd impression. I went, shh, I'm hunting Batman. Which isn't even a joke because there's no S sound. Or you can't do a double or an L sound to do a W. And Tynion didn't laugh at it because it wasn't funny. But later on, Dan called me and he's like, hey, you got an idea for this thing? And I did not have an idea. So I just went back to my joke I did with Tynion. And I was like, Batman meets Elmer Fudd. And he's like, great, do it. I need it by the end of the week. And that was literally how it happened. It was a bad joke I said to Tynion that he did not laugh at properly. And then I wrote it in a week. Lee Weeks drew the crap out of it. I literally called him halfway through and I was like, this isn't year 1. You don't have to work this hard. He's like, I only have 1 gear. I'm going all the way. And for some reason that book just has, it's been with me my entire career. Like, it keeps getting reprinted. People keep loving it. People keep discovering it. I've gotten some bizarre gigs in Hollywood because of it. And it's been, I don't know, but it literally was just this small, silly moment that's I'm still signing that book all these years later. Boggles my mind.
Fantastic.
Jeremy in the chat says, love the Batman Fudd book. Bring back those stories. Adams says, Dad, love those issues, especially the Fudd one.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I love. I'm currently working on the Mr. Miracle animated show. That's kind of my full-time job these days. And don't think
we had no idea.
But don't think I don't. So every day I'm working with Warner Brothers Animation, obviously, and every day I'm like, what would be a good cartoon? Elmer Fudd meets Batman. I'm trying, man. I would love to see that animated.
Caroline, Lady Fantastic says, Vision is the best mini ever. Changed my mind. I would be hard pressed to change her mind. It is. I do love it. It is up there with Supergirl for me.
It means the world to me. It made my entire career. It is not the best mini ever. Not as long as Frank Miller and Alan Moore exist.
Oh please, Alan Moore, yes, but Frank so. I mean, like,
well, I know Frank is a buddy of mine.
No, I would never. You have too much.
Come on, in Batman Year, like I wrote Batman for 85 issues. He wrote Batman Year One is 4 issues. In my 85 issues, that means I don't know what that math is. That means I had 100. I had like 50 chances to write Year One. I missed it every single time. In 4 issues, he created one of the greatest minis of all time.
I cannot wait till my round of Batman questions for you. I look forward to that. Rich, continue.
All right. Well, my last Superman related question was: were you able to read the Man of Tomorrow script, and of course, give us a non-spoiler reaction if you did?
I will not. I plead innocent to that question. I will say neither yes nor no. And just say I have total faith in that team to make an incredible movie. I was talking to someone on the set today, and I can't wait. We're not on the set, but I'm like who's working on the movie.
Very cool. That is good enough. We will take that. Thank you.
All right, and now it's time for some questions from our lovely community.
Thank you, community, for showing up and sending in questions. It's greatly appreciated.
I don't want to know what's next for Tom King. I want to know what's next after that for Tom King. I'm sure that is all still secret. Am I right?
I mean, I could talk about some stuff. I mean, obviously the Mr. Miracle thing, it's going to take them a while to draw that. So I don't know if that's considered next. It's not coming out tomorrow. Because it takes a while to animate things, but that's going to take a while. And the Archie movie, obviously, that's going to be big. There's the new Archie's with Lord and Miller, who did movies like 21 Jump Street and the Lego Movie. Or some Spider-Man movies you might have called the Spider-Verse movies. So their big movie comes out this week. So everyone should Hail Mary. Everyone should go and see it. And so that's the sort of thing. That's like the next thing, and the next after that is, man. I got some phone calls this week, so we'll see how they go. I'm taking meetings. There's lots coming. I just did. I have a new indie series that's coming out in next fall. That's going to be a reunion of I think I've talked about this. Me and Gabriel Walta from Vision, who haven't worked together in 10 years since Vision, are reuniting to do a creator on. And so that's coming. And then I just started a new mini with DC that'll be coming out. It'll take a while just because the artist is very good and takes a while. So yeah, so those are. Of the mini projects I'm working on, those are some of them.
Okay, my ADHD is taking over, so I need to zoom in on you just a little bit right now, because no, not you, your background. What, like that Action Comics slab that you have behind you is killing me.
Oh, man, I love that with Superman. It's just a beautiful little Lois Lane. I think was that Wayne Boring. I think probably.
Oh, it is lovely.
It is lovely. There's my Mr. Miracle to inspire. I love Superman, so I have some Action Comics back there. I used to get, I try to. I do a lot of cons. You try to get something from every con to sort of remind you of that experience. And for a while, I was always getting an old Action Comics. So I have a bunch of old Action Comics that came from each con. Now I mostly get art. But yeah, that's kind of a display of Action Comics. I rotate that Mr. Miracle. That like when I have an Archie meeting, that Mr. Miracle comes out and Archie goes in its place.
As it should. I have a very similar problem that you described. It's really it's a whole ordeal, just walking into conventions and just trying to resist the power and the lure.
It's super hard. I don't collect too many slab comics, although I do love them. I mostly collect comic art in my collections, or old art, or I also some old movie stuff. But yeah, I'm a very much a collector at heart. That is, I'm one of those. Obviously, that's how you get into comics. You collect. So
I love to hear that. And speaking of collectors at heart, we have a question for you from the Wonder Woman Museum.
Hi, this is Christy from the Wonder Museum. And my question for Tom is, since starting your run on Wonder Woman, how has your approach to Diana shifted over time? Has writing her changed the way you see her as a character?
It's hard to say that I've changed so much. I think I have found, I think I've grown sort of, I think what's come out more recently in her, and I think we talked about this before, is Diana is, there's a tragedy to her character, right? Like she is a woman who fights for love, which is again a contradiction, where that's maybe our theme for this episode. But the idea that she doesn't, that's her rebellious nature, that she doesn't want a world built on violence. She wants a world built on companionship and a world built on compassion. But to achieve that world, she's not the kind of person who just lays back if someone punches her, she's punching. And I think as I've written her and given her sort of worse and worse enemies, I think that frustration in her, that kind of that idea that she has to constantly keep inside her, that she has to hold her emotions back all the time, has sort of started to bubble over. I think that's the thing that I didn't realize. Like she's holding back so much anger because the world is not what it should be. And every day she wakes up and she looks around and she sees people treating other people with disrespect, people treating other people as lesser than, people treating other people as if they can control them, and every day she has to. It's hard to be level all the time. I think that anger, discovering that anger within her, is something that I've noticed as I've written her more. Is this is a woman, it's not like a one-to-one thing, but that line in Avengers, the secret to me is that I'm always mad. I think there's a little bit of that to Diana, that there's just inside her, she's like, the secret is, man, I carry a lot of anger with me. Yeah.
Wow, you make her sound like me with every second, and I kind of like that.
Good.
All right. Our next question is from Ryan Magic Lasso on YouTube.
Hi, Tom. My name's Ryan. Before I ask my question, I wanted to tell you how happy I was that we had the chance to meet last year at C2E2 in Chicago, and I wanted to thank you for signing my comic book. It meant a lot to me. Being a lifelong Wonder Woman fan, I love that you've brought back so many of the obscure villains from her past, and I'm hoping that perhaps Osira might make a return in the future, or how about Inversion, the Inside-Out Man? I think both of these would be fun villains to see once again in the pages of Wonder Woman. My question for you, though, is I am excited for Steve Trevor finally getting reunited with Diana. I know that your Wonder Woman stories take place in the future, with a lot of different time elements involved. How much time has passed between Steve Trevor's death and the time that she's reunited with him? Thanks for answering my question, and keep up the great work on the book.
It's an absolute excellent question, and it's what I'm writing right now. The Wonder War takes place with sort of 19-year-old Trinity, so it's like 20 years from now, and the reunion of Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman will happen in that book. So, I think Wonder War is going to be. I'm doing 8 issues. There's 4 and 4 side, me and Danny, and then there's going to be a little mini in the middle. So within that, you'll actually see 2 reunions, which I know sounds not possible, but you will see 2 reunions. Yeah, I'm spoiling that a little bit, but it was such a question asked with such honesty. I feel like it deserves an honest answer. So yeah, that's coming. That's coming in Wonder War, yeah. I think that's probably enough tease. I don't want to give it away exactly, but yeah.
The Wonder War, I love it. And by the way, I also love how many moments, because Lady Fantastic really kind of summarizes this here. Wonder Woman sees the darkness in the world, and she chooses to be a light, and in doing so, she brings balance. And I think you have captured that in several issues, where there's like, oh my god, I'm forgetting what happened, but it was like that gang. Wonder Woman's latest rogues gangle is like laying on a thick assault, and Wonder Woman chooses to protect people and to keep them safe rather than doing what her enemies expect. And they're like, why is she doing this? It's like, because she's Wonder Woman. And I like
100%, yeah.
And I love that. And I love that even some of her villains are like, because she's Wonder Woman. Like, that's how it is.
No, that's who she is, yeah. And I did a whole arc where I challenged myself. Like, I wanted to solve, although, you know, in comics, violence is part of kind of the language of comics. I dismissively called punching. Every comic needs some punching in it. It's kind of that's what drives every plot, or drives every moment. But I wanted to see if I could do comics where Wonder Woman was solving the villain's violence with love, and I did a bunch of those in a row for I think the second of the Sovereign arc, where I wanted to just show like there is another way to do this. Of course, this is most famously done in Squirrel Girl did this very well, where Squirrel Girl was looking sort of like, how do we solve problems not with violence? So maybe I'm just ripping off some good comics, but
I don't know. I think you're ripping off good things. I love the whole thing with the last of submission and like Wonder Woman trying to be forced into the submissive role, and Hippolyta appears to her,
yeah.
You know, and she's just like, come on, Diana, you know, and like, you know, like, get over this. And she frees herself. And they're like, how does she keep doing this?
Because she's Wonder Woman, man.
She's Wonder Woman.
Wow.
Tony from Comicverse, I absolutely love seeing Phantasm in the Batman Catwoman series. So I was wondering if Tom enjoyed working with the Phantasm character as much as I enjoyed reading it.
I did, but I should say that Clay Mann, our artist, deserves all the credit for that. It was Clay's idea to bring her into the book, and Clay drew her so wonderfully, both in and out of the Phantasm costume, making her incredibly spooky and yet incredibly lovely in both phases. So I just think Clay made that character shine. I had a blast writing it, and it was a blast writing sort of her and Selena as kind of, you know, both kind of ex-girlfriends of Bruce, and dealing with that. It was just, yeah, it was a joy and an honor to bring that character back.
Yeah, it really worked well. And of course, I like that series ended with the happy ending that I was hoping for. I was like, I may not have the real wedding, but I have this. You know?
It was the best I could do. The best I could do.
No,
I gave in Batman Annual number 2, I gave Bruce an ideal death, where he's sort of surrounded by his family and friends, and he kind of passes away. And I don't know if that, you know, obviously Batman will never die, so that's not a thing. But I wanted to, you know, give him that, and in Batman Catwoman, I gave him the wedding. I couldn't give him in real life. So yeah, I was just trying to give a character I love some gifts, maybe whether they're real or not.
I don't care. It was good. I love it. That's the way it should be, even if it is a Black Label Elseworld is a situation.
It's not Elseworld. It's in the future. It's going to happen. It's just hadn't happened yet.
Oh, okay, right. And I will choose to join you on that journey of belief. Yes. Double O wants to know: do you have any JLU Green Lantern figures that you remember getting at a con?
Yeah, I have tons. That must be someone who knows me, because I collected for a long time JLU figures.
I want to know, did Double O sell it to you? Like, what's going? Like, maybe that's what's going on.
They must have seen me for years, and so my daughter, who's now 16, when she was, say, ages 7 to 13, loved JLU figures. That was the thing she wanted to play with. I'm old, so I think it was G.I. Joe size figures as opposed to the bigger figures, 3.5-inch figures. But especially JLU figures. And I hunted, and I go to a lot of cons, and I hunted through everything to get her every single JLU figure. This weird Target exclusive from 2002, or this like bizarre one they only sold in Walmart for one day in 2009. And I paid so much money for so many figures, and they're all still in my basement. Yeah, I had every single lantern variant, the Green Lantern variant that there was. There's the whole set where you can take off their heads and put them on different heads. I had that one.
Yeah. No, that was I liked where there was like
all man, the Manhunter. I had like 16 guys, a bunch of John Stewarts, and all sorts of different costumes and stuff. Yeah, I got and there I still have them. I should take a picture of my dozens and dozens of lanterns. That is a wonderful deep cut from someone who knows me way too well. Because if you ever saw me at a con in say 2019, it was me like on the floor digging through bins looking for JLU to give to my daughter.
Oh,
very cool.
And that was me just this Saturday. You know, my back doesn't thank me for it, but my obsession with purchasing comics does.
I miss it. I love. I'm going to an awesome con this weekend, and one of my favorite things at a con is going treasure hunting, just for some little obscure thing, you know, whether it be like, a wrestling toy my kid wants, or I do. My kids are older now; they don't play with toys as much. And my youngest, I have a 12-year-old, but he loves Pokemon. Those are pretty easy to find, Pokemon cards. So, but I one of the great joys of a nerd life is hunting through a con for some obscure, whether it be a comic book or a toy or a piece of art. It's just going booth to booth and booth. Do you have this? Oh, I'm gonna go flip through things, and yeah, I just love it. Sorry, that's just my craziness.
Well, I mean, you know, like that. You're in excellent company with us, so don't you dare worry.
I appreciate it.
I'm like, you'll be at Awesome Con, being like, what's the cast of Firefly doing over there? What are they talking about?
That's funny.
Kingdom. Okay, well, I'll take one more question. Kingdom of Nerds. Maybe I missed the answer. What is your first published work?
I mean, my first published work is my novel, A Once Crowded Sky. I don't recommend you buy it. It came out, nobody bought it. It got great reviews. It's from Simon & Schuster, which is a big publisher. But yeah, the first thing I published ever was my novel. And I look at it, to me, like me learning how to write. There are things in it that I love. There are things in it that make me cringe. But I still have the cover. Tom Fowler did the cover, and I have it up in my living room just to remind me of that. That was the first thing that had my name on it.
Very nice. All right. So follow-up question to that: what's your first comic book published work?
The first, again, with Tom. But it's not the first comic book I wrote that got published. So there's a funny timeline here. So after Once Crowded Sky came out, again, it was a pretty big bomb. I wrote 2 novels in between, sort of because the way publishing works for books is different. It takes like 2 years to get published. So you kind of have a blank. So I wrote 2 novels in that time, and neither of those novels got published. But at the time, I went to Cliff Chang was nice enough to kind of, I knew him a little bit, and he gave me the address of a bunch of DC Comics editors, and I sent them off to a bunch of editors. The only one who responded was Karen Berger, Vertigo, which I'm wearing my Vertigo shirt. And she said, come in and pitch me stories. And I pitched her something. The pitches did not go well, but I think just to be nice, just because she kind of put me through the ringer, she gave me a little 8-pager to do an anthology series called Time Warp back in the day, again with Tom Fowler, who had worked on my book and was kind enough to draw the shit out of a little 8-pager. And the wonderful, bizarre little fact about that is my first comic published in Time Warp #1 was an 8-pager about Hitler's sister. And I'm super proud of it. It's a heartbreaking story. Of course, a kid gets killed on the first page, so I was been consistent throughout my career. But I was the second story in the anthology. The first story in the anthology was by Damon Lindelof and Jeff Lemire. So my first time my name was published in comics, it was next to Damon's name, and then Damon and I, went on to be the co-creators of this Lantern series. So it's just like a very small world. It's a complete coincidence. He had no idea when we were in the writers' room. I brought it to him. I was like, did you know we were next to each other? I was like, that was you. That was your story. That was pretty good. So yeah. So it's just the small world.
Oh, that's a nice.
It is. All right. So, chat, I'm going to star questions that you guys are giving, and I'm going to give Rich a chance to ask some more questions.
Yeah, we're going to dig a little deep into Supergirl. So can you take us back to the moment when James reached out to tell you that he was actually using your comic book, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, as the movie? Or the basis for the movie?
You're asking a good question, because I don't know if there was like a moment. It kind of evolved over kind of a few moments. I knew he loved that. I knew when we met for our first sort of, I don't know what you're gonna call it. I don't want to make it bigger than it was. Architects meeting, with our first meeting, where it was a bunch of very talented writers in a room talking about what the DCU could be. It was on his mind then that Supergirl could be a movie. So I think at the very first movie, and I remember, he said this publicly, so I think it's okay to say, at that very first meeting, he's like, and I think that, have you seen that the new Game of Thrones show? I was like, oh yeah, you know that woman who's playing the lead, I think she'd be a good Supergirl. So he had Millie in mind way back when it was just a kernel of thought in his head. Yeah. So I think when I first heard it was our very first Architects meeting, and what I mean, just an absolute thrill that blew my mind. And the irony was when they made the big announcements of like, here's our sort of first slate with a bunch of Lanterns and Supergirl on that slate. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, Tom, you must be so excited about Supergirl. I was like, yes, I am so excited about Supergirl, but I'm really excited about Lanterns because that's the one I'm working on, but I couldn't say that at the time. So I was like, yeah, it's kind of yeah.
We're going to get the Lanterns. Don't worry.
I'm sure.
In which you can't say much.
I know you can't say much. Again, it's just feeling. So, and the trailer has dropped, so you can talk about the trailer.
I can talk about that's some of the trailer.
Yeah. So, but in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, in the comic book, now Kara is shaped by trauma, resilience, and a bit of moral clarity. Do you feel that the film preserves your version of her?
I have not seen the film, so I can plead innocence, which was a very smart idea. Just so when I was on podcast, that I could say these words. I have not seen the film, so I can't say whether it hits or not. I'm a consultant on a lot of DC projects, so I saw it being built, but it wasn't sort of my thing to build. Is the difference between the Super and Mr. Miracle, which is I'm the showrunner, and then Lanterns is probably somewhere in between. So I hope so. I have full faith in Craig Gillespie, the director. I have seen some scenes with Millie, and she's absolutely wonderful. I can say that. And Peter Safran and James Gunn, who run the company, have talked to me extensively about the character and their love of the character. I even had a conversation with David Zaslav, who's the head of Warner Brothers, and even he was telling me how much he loves Supergirl. So I know there's passion all the way to the top for that character.
Very exciting. Very exciting. Now, I got to interview a few months before he passed, and I know you get to bump into a lot of creators over the years. Keith Giffen, who is the co-creator of Lobo.
Keith was a buddy of mine. Yeah. One of the absolute greats. I have a Keith. We're talking about collecting comic art. I have a Keith 5 Year Later Legion. That's my favorite Keith work. I have a page right above my desk that I start every day before I write, just to dedicate. I absolutely love that man. He was wonderful to me, and was one of the most gifted writers and artists ever to grace with me.
Wow.
And funny man. Just goddamn the best person to be on with. It just made me laugh endlessly.
Yeah, he definitely felt like a character on that interview and told some incredible stories. But I know that he was never a fan of the fan casting at that time of Jason Momoa as Lobo. So my question for you is:
Keith was never a fan of anything. He never met anything he didn't like. You'd be like, Keith, what do you think of puppies? Puppies are the worst. They piss on your rugs. That was Keith.
I was going to say he judged it too early, but you just told us you haven't seen the movie yet.
Yes,
unless you've seen clips of him in the movie.
Jason Momoa seems very true to that character. I think he's going to do pretty good. That would be my general instinct. Keith was my. There was no better person to be on a panel with than Keith, and I was on a panel when they asked him about Lobo. When a favorite moment in my history of comics, a fan got up, a very genuine young fan, 15, 16. And we're on this panel. He's like Miss Giffen, this means so much to me. Lobo is my favorite character in comics. He's meant so much to me, and I just wanted to tell you thank you in person for what you've done, for my life and for my reading, and it means a lot to me. And Keith goes, so Lobo is your favorite character? And he's like, yes. He goes, well, you're an effing idiot. That character was a joke. What were you thinking?
It's so great to know that he's consistent, because he did that to a friend of mine named Matt at a con we went to many years ago. And I went to a panel with my friend Kevin where it was like the anniversary of Justice League International. And as soon as they opened, J.M. DeMatteis is there, and he's like, yeah, it's cool that, all of you are here and you want to, to celebrate the anniversary. And immediately Keith is like, what is wrong with you people? This thing is like 25 years old. Why do you care? Why are we still talking about this? And I'm like, oh, this man never gets boring.
He was the best. I miss him. He was great.
Oh
and my last Supergirl question is, do you think audiences are currently open to character-driven superhero stories with strong female leads like Supergirl or Wonder Woman?
I mean, Wonder Woman, the first movie, which is a good movie, written by a buddy of mine, Alan Heinberg, made a super ton of money and was a huge success. A movie called Captain Marvel made over $1 billion, not less than 10 years ago. So I think audiences have been ready. So yeah, that's yeah. And I think Supergirl has. God, I hope. I guess I should hope. I don't know. There's an old saying about Hollywood that no one knows anything, and that's just so true. No one can predict what's going to happen. But I hope Supergirl. I can tell you the book. I can't tell you much about the movie, but I can tell you the book is sort of a magic little thing, where I have, comic books appeal to, a wide variety of people, from, very dudes who watch football and wrestling, and that's all they do. And they're like, man, I love Supergirl, man, rocks. And then, but I've seen 11-year-old girls who are like, oh man, I thought this was magical. And I've seen, women in their 60s who are like, this really brought me back. That book, and I've had books that don't. That Danger Street doesn't do that. Even Vision doesn't do that. But Supergirl has this sort of universal appeal, that story. So I hope that the appeal of the book can be expressed in the movie, and it hits like the book. I can't guarantee it. I haven't seen it. It's out of my control, but I'm just hoping.
Right. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I watched the trailer earlier today. I'm super excited, and my significant other cried when the trailer dropped.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, she felt like it was really hopeful for girls, and that strength was important to show on the screen.
I've seen. I haven't seen the movie, but I have seen the next trailer, and it's awesome. I have seen that. I can at least see that.
Looking forward to
that. We are literally getting the crumbs here, but I'm living for it. I'm living for the crumbs.
Sorry, these are the crumbs.
Yeah, we'll take it.
Okay, there's
after a Lady Cop, I can talk forever. Supergirl,
I'm going to avoid highlighting some of these comments, and not because they're awful. I just don't want them to appear on the screen.
Okay, it's okay. Look, I can see.
Oh no, I think you can handle them as a person. I just don't think I ever want to rewatch this and think about them. I'm gonna ask you one of my Batman questions, and then, as I promised, I'm gonna go to chat questions. The Alfred of it all. The real question I have is, did you? We're on the 6th year of Alfred remaining dead in comics.
It's insane.
Right? Did you think that it was really gonna last that long?
No. First of all, he was not supposed to die in that issue. I've said this a lot. It was supposed to be. It was written to be. The next issue was written as. It was actually written. It was supposed to be Scarecrow gas. Scarecrow was showing Damian his worst fear. And the worst fear was Alfred dying. That was the cliffhanger. That was the way out of the cliffhanger. It was a classic Batman, a comic book. Oh no, you thought the hero's gonna die? No, he's not dead. That was how until the moment that book came out and it hit fans. And oh my God, Dan DiDio makes his 3rd appearance on our podcast today. The head of DC Comics, Dan DiDio, called me. He said the fans have reacted so positively to this. It's churned up such a reaction he didn't expect. He's like, now Alfred is actually dead. It's not Scarecrow gas. He's dead. So I did not intend, when I killed him for he wasn't supposed to be dead for more than 1 issue, not just 6 years. And so we changed the next issue. And if you read it, it's kind of a crappy death. It's not like and so I had to retcon the death later on where I showed that, by being in that room, he was sacrificing himself. That was my major thing. I was like, you can't kill Alfred. Alfred needs to die in a heroic way. So I retconned a heroic death in. So yeah, and I just assumed James would bring him back. I assumed Josh would bring him back. I assumed Chip would bring him back. I remember being at the conference last year when Matt was presenting his, here's my new plan for Batman #1. I was like, the first thing he's going to say is, I'm bringing Alfred back. And Matt's like, nope, I'm not bringing Alfred back. I was like, oh my God, he's still dead. You're still going. So yeah, it boggles my mind that he's still gone. If I was a Batman writer, and I've been a Batman writer, I would want Alfred back. To me, I don't know how you write Batman without Alfred and Gordon. That's like writing a Kirk without Spock and Bones. Like, you just that's the trio that needs to exist for it to be a Batman comic. It's amazing it's lasted this long.
Yeah, the bulk of us, me here and in the chat, is like, I cried so much, know.
Yeah, well, I love the issue. I wrote the issue where Batman's stuck in the room and can't get out, and he's been trapped there by his father, and is forced to listen to that sort of Alfred's last words to break him. And that, I'm really proud of that issue, because that one will make you cry. Where Alfred says the thing we had planted in the very first issue of the run, where Alfred says, I don't know if your parents are proud of you, but I'm proud of you. So, yeah. And
there's such a special bond about him being the surrogate dad.
Oh, it's the best. Yeah. I mean, I wrote, if anyone read Trinity, I got to write Alfred again, and I got to write him alive again. If you read the end of Trinity, he is on a boat writing out. That's post his death, and we gave him a word balloon, so at least I could be like, he's still out there and he's still talking. So yeah,
in some way, shape, or form, maybe after the next 16 crises that DC releases, Alfred will finally come home.
Yeah, I got that line where Trinity tells him, the little girl's like, you're gonna die. Nobody gets married. She tells him that there's on the day of the wedding. She's like, nobody gets married, and you're gonna die. And he's like, oh my God. And then he has the line, which I stole from an old poem I read in college, where he goes, let the years, do what they may, they will not spoil my happiness of this moment. It's basically what he says, which I think describes perfectly Alfred's attitude, as opposed to Bruce and what he brings to that comic.
Magic also says Trinity was fun. You must have corgi dogs.
I do not, but my artist does. Happy artist, happy life is always a good idea. And the corgi dogs are from Belen Ortega, who was the brilliant artist of Trinity, who killed it on that book. And it comes from me asking her when we were working on just little 8-page short stories. I said, what do you want to draw? And she said, there's 2 things I really, really need to draw. And I was like, what is it? I'll put them in the book. She's like, I want samurais and corgis. I was like, how am I going to put samurais and corgis? So I put
samurais that can do corgis.
Yeah, I was like, samurais, like, time travel, we can do better samurai. I was like, how am I going to? And then we did this very silly issue where I turned I was like, okay, so Tana's in, and they fight some magic, and the 2 boys get turned into corgis, and then we had so much fun doing it. I was like, all right, now we're doing a whole series where a bunch of corgis are running through time. I don't have corgis. I do have a pit bull shepherd mix who has a very corgi attitude towards life. So I very much channeled my dog into those corgis.
Lady Fantastic asks, what are some books or comics that inspired you?
Oh man, well, I got my favorites back here. I mean, God, so many freaking. Where do I even start with my favorites? I think that the 86 triumvirate of comics, Dark Knight Returns, Mouse, Watchmen, those hit me very much when I was 12, as we started this conversation, and have inspired me since. Of Dark Knight Returns, which is just one of the best superhero stories ever written, going to the darkest side to find the light. Watchmen, a deconstruction of heroes and sort of what you can do with comics. And then Mouse, which is like, comics can tell any story you want to tell. They can tell about the deepest emotions mankind is capable of reaching. And so those 3 really hit me hard. I have some books back here that really inspired me. Let's see what I've got here. Chekhov, I love. I love some old Tom Wolfe, A Homeward Angel. My favorite book of all time, War and Peace by Tolstoy. I really love old Russian authors. I don't know what else. I got Box Office Poison. Will Eisner, Contract with God is huge to me. And then I love Stan Lee, Jack Kirby. The original early Marvel creation is big. And then on the comic strip side, just as big to me. I think the best person to ever do comics, the best person in the history of our humankind to put words with pictures was Charles Schultz in Peanuts. I'm endlessly inspired by what he did in that comic. And I also love Far Side and Calvin and Hobbes. And so I draw a lot from comic strips as well.
That's awesome. Here's a fun question. How many characters is Alan Tudyk voicing in Miracle Man?
I assume you mean Mr. Miracle. It's hard to. I don't know if we're going to be able to.
Everyone inverts. Everyone inverts those two characters.
I got to go on the Seth Meyers show, the late night host Seth Meyers.
He loves DC Comics.
He loves DC Comics. He's a big DC Comics fan. So he invited me on the show, and I brought my wife back to be like, look, honey, I'm actually do something for a living that people appreciate. We're going to be on a late night talk show and be backstage and see famous people. And so you're backstage and you're very nervous because you're going out. And Seth, being the man she is, comes back to like trying to calm everybody down and say what a good show it's been. And Seth comes in, and my wife's like, "Oh my God, Seth Meyers is going to talk to you." And he comes in and he goes, Tom, I'm such a huge fan. I'm like, look what a fan. It's like, I love Miracle Man. Miracle Man is the best ever. And my wife is sitting there trying not to laugh as he gets Mr. Miracle's there. And then he walks out of the room and he's like, "You didn't correct." I was like, "I can't correct Seth Meyers. If you think it's Miracle Man, it's Miracle Man. Fine." And my wife was like, "Oh my God, you thought you were a big shit, but he took you down." Sorry. He's voicing he's doing all the voices. He'll be Barda. He'll be Scott. He'll be Oberon.
If there's any one actor that I believe could pull it off, it's definitely I'm leaning hard on Alan Tudyk for that, and I feel like he would do one hell of a Granny Goodness.
Can I say how much I have utterly enjoyed working with the voice actors on this? I get we do casting, and then you're in the room with the voice actors when they do their thing, and it's just, and some of these people are movie stars, and some of them are huge stars to me because they voiced this random character that I loved. One woman who worked on this show was in the original Star Trek. I couldn't believe it. And so it's such a fanboy wonder to work with all these amazing actors on Mr. Miracle. Just incredible.
It's funny. I bumped into Alan Tudyk in the fall. He was just having breakfast in Massachusetts at a restaurant. I believe it was with his wife, and I turned out from just chatting with him that it was his sister. And I'm like, "Oh, Alan, did you move out here? Like, what's going on?" And I've interviewed actors, creators for years. And I just got so verklempt, and he was so cool about it professionally. He's like, "Do you want a photo? Come over here. Let's see your phone. Let's get the right light." He was just such a cool guy. Very nice man.
I've never met him. I've only heard such nice things. I have no doubt. I used to watch Con Man. I used to love that show.
I feel like you're on your trajectory to meet him. You're very close. It's getting closer and closer.
I am. I'm on this trajectory. I've been like at premieres where he's there. It's like I was at the Superman premiere. I must have seen him at least from afar.
I know. Be like, Gary.
Oh my
George.
God. I'll be like, I cried, George. Serenity. I cried.
Oh my God.
You were on a butterfly on the wings.
Oh. So George from the 757 Hustle show, is Supergirl stronger than Superman? Cliff says no way. I didn't exactly say no way. I just felt like Superman's stronger. Because he spent more time on
Superman. I mean, that's a tough one. I mean, look, who am I gonna? I love Superman. He's my favorite. He's my favorite comic book character, Superman. So, but I did write an issue where Superman and Supergirl have the same problem, where they both have a green sun, and Clark goes down in 45 minutes, and Clara lasts 12 hours. That's all I'm saying. That's continuity. That's in the comic. That is in continuity. So that's all.
But they have differing physiology for like subtle reasons about time away from Krypton, right? Yeah. So like I always think that's fascinating, and I never look at it as, one is stronger than the other. I just feel like because there's different things from their different experiences, just there's certain strengths each one has, is the way I look at it.
I think that an argument could be made that Superman, obviously Supergirl didn't get to Earth until, I know the time travel with her travel, but she didn't get to Earth until she was 14. He's there when he's a baby. So he's had quite a few more years of Yellow Sun. So there's an argument to be made that he's just absorbed more energy over the years. If you want to think of Superman as someone who grows in power as he gets more Yellow Sun. But there's some people who think that there's a cap to it. I don't know. Me and Mark Waid should have it out one day. I'll ask him. If you ask anybody, Mark would know.
Oh my God. I would love, that's what you need. I want an issue of World's Finest where Mark writes Superman the whole issue and you write Supergirl the whole issue.
I told you I'm cursed. I'm in a box. Not going to write her anymore.
I just gave you a brand new box to work out of. But anyhow, that said, Mike Evil's Comics, is there a character at DC that you haven't gotten to write a story for but really want to?
Yes, there's hundreds of them.
There's hundreds.
Yes, I would love to write Animal Man. I'd love to write Ambush Bug. I'd love to write. I mean, there's characters I've just touched on that I would love to write more of. Booster Gold. I'd love to write The Question. I'd love to write. Oh my God, my real nerd. This is stupid, but when I was a kid, and to this day, my favorite DC comics in terms of series are Suicide Squad and Legion of Superheroes. That's my favorite. I'm a Legion of Superheroes diehard. I love them.
I'm a Legion of Superheroes diehard. Do you not look at me? They're Legion. All right. Their third appearance, their second appearance. I love the Legion of Superheroes. Please give me Legion all day, all night, all the time. Death of Superboy, freaking first Legion from Levitt's run. All right. Monel's first appearance.
Oh my
all
God.
right.
Look at this.
Brainiac 5. This one came from China. That one scared the hell out of me. All right. My man Starboy. I mean, I am so ready. I I want Legion all day and all night. All day and all night I want Legion.
Love it. I love it. Yeah. Josh Williamson's one of my best friends, and I'm just so pissed at him that he got Legion. And I will be pissed at him if he blows it.
I've
heard his. I haven't read it. I've heard his pitch, and I've heard the passion he's putting into it and the deep cuts. And I don't think he's going to blow it. I think he's going to do a fantastic job.
I believe that he's going to have them on the run, which is something that we've done with the Legion in other forms before. That's the vibe that I'm getting. Thank you, DCKO final issue.
I can't give away Josh's story except to say that Josh is working on it passionately.
I'm sure he is. I'm sure it's lovely. I'm not sitting here going, "Don't you Dark Crisis me, Joshua." Matt.
But if I would love to do a Matter Eater Lad series. Oh my God, I would just. I wanted to. There's that one issue, 5 Year Later Legion, where he's a little bit of a private eye, Matter Leader, private eye, Matter Eater Lad, private eye. Oh my God, where he's just like chewing on his pencil or chewing on his pen.
If he became time lost in the 21st century and you gave him Jessica Jones treatment, I would die.
100%. Oh my God. Put him in office. Give him one of those Keith Giffen robots as like his Girl Friday with like no face, who's like always like sarcastic.
It's his own version. It's his own. He has a portable computer, so the portable computer forms. I'm
telling you. Oh.
I need the one episode where Peacemaker is remembering his adventures with Matter Eater Lad.
I would do it. I would
love.
That's right. Peacemaker has mentioned Matter Eater Lad, so that's in continuity.
Yeah.
Well, he got all iffy on it now.
He is. It's all iffy. Yeah. He also mentioned Doll Man. There's all sorts of cuts.
Bring me the Freedom Fighters. Show me the Freedom Fighters. Don't be scared, Mr. Freaking Gun. Bring them Freedom Fighters out. I want to see them.
I would love to try Freedom Fighters.
All right. Bring them to me. Bring them.
I'm into it.
I love how you're mentioning all my favorite things. Like, I'm just loving you more every second. Okay, Matt, very seriously. Mr. King, seeing Scott's story of having such a trouble, uncaring father, yet his resilience and depth of love for his own son really hit me because of my dad, rest in peace, and my relationship with my son.
Oh, that's sad. That means the absolute world to me. Yeah. There's such a thing as generational trauma, but there's also such a thing as fighting back against generational trauma. And I think that's a good message to send to all the young men and women out there. If you've had trouble as a kid, doesn't mean you have to pass that trouble along to your kids. and that's a struggle we all go through, and it's a struggle we all have to share in order to have the strength to do it right.
Yeah, I don't have the strength for children. That's how I stay young.
Me neither. And I got 3 of them. So
don't worry. I believe in you. Your work is keeping you young. All right.
Plenty.
Taylor Winder, I want a podcast where comic writers just discuss who would win a fight. And right after that, Jeff, Ultra, the multi-alien.
I would do Ultra. The one character I think would be terrible to write. People like I was like maybe Brother Power the Geek. I'm not sure that appeals to me. But I could do Ultra the multi-alien. Yes, I just went to a summit, a DC summit, and DC summits are fine during the day when you talk, but the real fun is at the hotel afterwards. I don't drink, but you gather, you sit around, and it's you and Scotty Young and Jason Aaron and Tom Taylor, and you're just all sitting around arguing over your favorite comics and who would win in fights.
Oh my God. And by the way, I fell in love with Scotty Young at Terrificon. I was like, no, he's cool. And then I stood in line with my friend to get to him. And then we had an entire conversation where I explained what Bi-Panic is. And it was wonderful. I'm like, you are my new favorite. You are one of my new favorite humans. I can't wait to see what's coming from you. I went from casual Scotty enjoyer to, oh my God, he's got a new book. I can't wait to see him write this.
Scotty's Lobo book is insane and perfect for the character. And I think even Keith.
I am imagining.
Well, while you're Cliff, I want to get into Lanterns a little bit.
You're gonna kill me. Let me get one more in because you're gonna kill me.
All right.
All right, Mr. King, as an Eisner Award winner, what do you think of the future of the awards given the current market for comics? And please let the audience know what you win awards for. I'm assuming what awards you've won is what he's talking about.
The future of the awards. Is this because the for people who know Jackie, maybe she's talking about Jackie Estrada, who has run the awards for I think 30 years, is kind of moving aside. So maybe it's a little bit of change. But I've met the one who's replacing Jackie Estrada, and she seems utterly delightful and a huge nerd. So I'm not worried about that sort of part of it. I know Jackie's helped with the transition. I don't know. I don't quite understand the question, but
I tried to interpret it to the best of my ability.
It's very. I've won awards for a bunch of comics. I won. Here, I got this one right here. I won a Harvey right here for most promising talent in 2016. And I hope I have this next to my desk to always stare at me and be like, fulfill your goddamn Harvey. You have to be promising, Tom. Today, whatever you're writing, be promising.
Promising.
Yeah, promising new talent in 2016 for the vision.
And here we are 10 years later, and you're still a promising young talent. And it's just, you're really blossoming into your role.
Thanks. Someday I'm going to live up to that Harvey.
I know. I'm going to continue to tag the chat, and I will let Rich continue with his next segment of questions.
Sure.
Okay. So this is clearly feels like a passion project. Can you tell us what it was like for you collaborating with Damon and Chris Mundy to bring your vision to life?
I mean, I wouldn't call it my vision. I'd definitely call it our vision. I mean, I think working with Damon is just such an utter pleasure, but it is like he's so good. He is so good at what he does. There's no one better at what he does than Damon Lindelof, as evidenced by Watchmen, by Leftovers, by Lost, by the shows he's worked on. I hang out with the most creative people in the world. I just told you, hanging out with Jason Aaron, hanging out with Scotty Young, with Josh Williamson, with Scott Snyder. And I think comic book people are, and this is obviously an arrogant thing to say because I'm a comic book people, we have to be so creative all the time. We have to think of, most movie and TV people have like 10, 2, 3, maybe at the most 5 stories they have to write a year. We have to write 50. So like we're constantly having to be crazy creative. And Damon might be the most creative person I've ever met in my life. He just comes up with stories so fast, and he looks at it from so many different angles and comes up with a different cool way to do something and a different spin on things. And I've been utterly so blown away. talking with him and learning from him. In Lanterns, I was very much with both of those guys. Chris Money did the show Ozarks, and he was our showrunner, the guy who's sort of responsible, the guy who leads the ship. So what you're seeing in Lanterns is really sort of the Chris Mundy vision of the show. And I was kind of there in a more of a learning capacity, learning how a show like this gets made. And it was wonderful watching those two guys cook.
Oh, very cool.
Lovely.
Thank you. Now, when you're shaping the dynamic between Hal and John, do you find yourself going back to Neil Adams' work, particularly his original take on Jon Stewart, to tap in the roots of their relationship?
Absolutely, Matt. That's how I've always approached every character I've been with. I go back to the original intention, be that from Human Target, looking at what sort of Len Wein and Dick Giordano had done in that first issue, and going back and seeing like, what if we wipe away 2 television shows and 3 series? Like, what was the original sort of part of that, and bringing that cool out? And the same with this, looking back at that very original issue that Neil did with as far as it's Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil. So with Neil did with Denny, both of whom were a friend. Neil was a friend of mine. I knew Denny a little bit, and going back to that and there's a lot of depth in that issue, and there's a lot of, and you'll see a lot of that issue reflected in the comics. Yeah, we definitely went right back to that origin story. I mean, obviously some of that stuff is dated, some of it doesn't work at all anymore, and some of it needed some more modernization. But the heart and soul that Neil Adams and Denny O'Neil put in that, I hope we transfer to the show. At least I tried to transfer, I should say.
Very cool. And now in the trailer, Hal and John have an almost explosive dynamic to their personalities. Did Kyle Chandler and Aaron Pierre bring anything to their scenes together that surprised you?
I mean, it's hard to say you're surprised that Kyle Chandler's amazing. I mean, I've seen Friday Night Lights, like I watched The Paper when I was a kid, like I wasn't shocked that Kyle Chandler just, brought the heat. So I wouldn't say I was surprised. I was surprised at how much he embodied Hal so quickly. And how he got that sort of, that devil may care, that Indiana Jones part of Hal down so wonderfully. I thought he just fantastic. Aaron, I don't know, the first time I saw him, the first time anyone's going to see him, he's a superhero. You look like you're looking at a superhero. He's 6'4", he's built like a brick truck. He's nice as anything. One of the just incredible, and he embodied that sort of Jon Stewart. And of course, we were drawing from Jon Stewart a lot from the Dwayne McDuffie stuff from the JLU, and I felt he just killed it. I'm so proud of I'm proud of their performances. Like I did it. I'm proud to have worked with those guys and to know them.
Nice. And since you mentioned the Dwayne McDuffie JLU, were there ever any thoughts or talks about bringing in Phil LaMarr for a cameo?
I think I'm gonna have to go no comment on that one. I'm not 100% sure what's known and what's not known, so I'll have to go with the no comment.
Well, that is interesting.
Except to say, I very much appreciate. It goes back to Phil LaMarr is one of the hosts of the Eisners. That's how I know Phil, because I see him once a year at the Eisners when I go there. So Phil loves comics, and I just to see how much I appreciate both his performance and his support for this medium has been great.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Phil as well, and we've developed a little bit of a relationship. So I actually reached out to him before this interview, and I was like, "Hey, I'm interviewing Tom. Do you want to come in and talk about Lanterns?" And he was like, "Oh no, I don't really know Tom that well. No, I don't think I want to do that." I was like, "Okay, no problem."
Oh man, I'd be starstruck, man. Pulp Fiction, come on.
Yeah, he's incredible. He is an incredible talent, and his voice matching and all his work over the years, and he's still constantly working. You follow his career; it's insane.
Oh man, I love him. Static, Samurai, yeah, crazy.
He's done everything. God, I even loved him on Mad TV.
If it wasn't for Alan Tudyk, he'd have a role in Mr. Miracle, but Alan's playing them all. So
right,
So now Hal bailing out of the car as it's approaching the cliff moment in the trailer was insane. But you leave it to our imagination how Jon Stewart actually escapes. Will we see that missing scene in the series, or do you leave it to our imagination 100%.
You think I'm going to answer that question? I love it. That's a great question. I love it. Thank you for asking it.
I had to take a shot. I am such a fan of nerd culture, and this is such a cool series. And I think the things that people are complaining about are ridiculous. And the trailer was amazing, and I can't wait to see more.
I appreciate that. I don't think the complaints are ridiculous. I think they show a passion for Green Lanterns, and I'm glad. I'm glad there's a passion for those characters. I do. I appreciate it. Actually. Yeah.
Okay. And is there anything else you want to sum up about the Lantern series at all?
Just to say it's coming out soon. I hope you tune in on HBO.
Absolutely going to. All day long.
Thank you.
Cliff, do we have some more questions for Mr.
Oh, we have so much more. Right now, it's time to humiliate me right now.
Okay.
This is from an appearance of, I was on Ozzyverse. It was very early in the morning. So I was a little overtired, and I may have ranted a little, but I was requested to show this to Tom, and I think Tom, I just want to see Tom's reaction.
Which Supergirl? Is it the one that like
fucking Zor-El? Holy Supergirl! God damn it, Kara Zor-El from fucking Krypton, born in Argo City, to Zor-El and Laura. God damn it, show some fucking respect for the girl of steel and the woman of fucking tomorrow, okay? Supergirl, who risked her goddamn life to save her fucking cousin in crisis because she knew the importance of being brave. Supergirl, who has traveled through time repeatedly to team up with the goddamn Legion of Superheroes and has some kind of crisscross fucking love affair with Brainiac 5. Supergirl, okay, who has been challenged repeatedly, has some bizarre ass fucking kryptonite fucking poisoning. Supergirl, who teamed up with Power Girl, another alternate version of herself, so they could defend fucking Kandor as freaking Nightwing and Flamebird. Supergirl, okay, who goes off into space with fucking Krypto because a little girl needs protection from the destroyer of worlds. Super motherfucking girl who's bashing in the skulls of Brainiac fucking robots, even though she's terrified because she lived on Krypton long enough to see that motherfucker show up and steal a fucking city right off of their planet. That's who the fuck I'm talking about.
you can't wait.
So I have some passionate moments, and
I love it. I love the.
I was like, did I
love the knowledge. I love the cuts. I love it.
I was like, did I really capture the spirit that you're trying to embody with Supergirl?
You did.
Really?
You had the whole history. It was taking me back to so many things, man. When you said Brainiac, you know, I'm picturing those. Yeah, wonderful, just wonderful. Yeah,
straight from the heart. We got a
I was pressing like. I was like, why can't I get more likes? This thing. What's wrong with my?
Oh yeah, we need more likes. He's like, this rant brought to you by Cliff on Comics, Black Label. Probably true. Probably true. It's so funny. So Legion, thank you for the super chat. Hey Tom, longtime fan, first time caller. And then like we still haven't. I guess my Supergirl rant took him by storm for a minute because I didn't even get a question out of him. I do gotta thank him for the super chat. Let's just do something simple.
All right.
Love
you know, a little something. All right, so we still have. I love how Jordan John Stewart never had this reckless lantern until Hal in a very retro continuity way. Okay, interesting. All right, Gravitas Errant. I love the Hal Jordan John Stewart matchup. John Stewart was the first Green Lantern I had in JLU, so I never saw a reckless lantern until Hal Jordan in a very retro continuity way. Okay, I get that. I meet so many people who John is their first Green Lantern.
Of course.
It's incredible.
No. I think to a whole generation, that JLU show and obviously Justice League before it are just such. If I tell people you want to know who Mr. Miracle is, there's a wonderful JLU episode about it. Like they're just such perfect. They present superheroes in a very easy and yet they're complicated and they're wonderful stories and obviously Stewart was incredible in the series. Yeah, so a whole generation, John Stewart's their Green Lantern. And John Stewart's awesome, so it makes sense.
Tacoma Comics shares Vision represents the best superhero story of the last decade.
Oh, that means the world to me. That's and that it's a good lesson for young writers or for anything. I wrote Vision out of utter desperation or where I was working on Omega Man. Omega Man had just been canceled, not uncanceled. I've been working on a book called Grayson that would also been canceled. Not for sales, but just because the continuity had kind of moved on from that character. And I was like, my time in comics is done. I tried and I failed. And I was writing Vision #1. I was like, who's going to read Vision? Nobody's going to care about this book. It's going to be another Omega Man. And I literally wrote the first issue as kind of like, all right, well, since nobody's going to care, I'm just going to, F it. Just F it. I'm going to throw everything to the wind and write this comic without thinking about anything but like what I want to make the best comic possible. And I put it out in the world. And it was just a wonderful thing to see the world say, okay, yeah, you can. That was my ticket to everything. I made my entire career. 6 issues later, they offered me the biggest title in comics. It's crazy.
Yeah. Drew Manchu also says Vision was great. Following that, Black Spiders wants to know, what writers do you look up to, comics or novels?
This is not an original answer, and so I apologize for it, but because I think most people in comics have the same answer here. But I really admire Walt Simonson, and Wheezy, his wife, Louise Simonson. Yes. I love how they treat fans. I love how they mature, but they still write. They still challenge each other. They're just a wonderful couple. If you have the chance to hang out with them, they're buddies of mine. I admire how true Walt is to his art, how he's always been a guy who hit the mainstream, but was never of the mainstream, who always kind of challenged things as both a writer and as an artist. And just a bunch of such kind people. Yeah. So the Simonsons are the people. I think I was at. He's also talked. Bendis has talked about this, but I was at a. I love Bendis too. And Bendis and I went to breakfast with Walt, and Bendis obviously admires Walt, and Bendis was trying to learn from Walt. I was like, how can I get to where you are, like almost like a guru on the hill? And here I am. I'm trying to. Bendis is my guru, so I'm watching my guru talk to another guru. It was just wonderful. This breakfast of the three of us that always stick together. Where kind of the three of us were trying to both Bendis and I were trying to figure out the sort of magic that is Walt Simonson. So yeah, it's wonderful.
He is magical. And Louise, I love a story Louise told at Turfcon last year, right? That they were both there. Yes. And she was like, well, sometimes I would just do stuff and just wait for Jim to talk to me about it after the fact. And I was like, I love you so much. I was just like, get it, girl. Just publish it and then see the wrath of Jim,
That's my secret with that couple when I go out with them is that Walt Simonson wrote the first comic I ever wrote, which is a big deal. Avengers 300 is the first thing that got me into this. But as a kid, I was more a Louise Simonson fan because I loved Power Pack. I loved the New Mutants. I loved X Factor. I have my favorite Power Pack page. I managed to get it at auction. It's again sitting right there next to that Keith Giffen page I was just talking about.
Nice.
That I'm going, as soon as Baltimore this year, I'm going to get Louise to sign it. So yes, I although I'm always sucking up to Walt, I secretly Louise was my sort of rock star when I was a kid.
I was at right near your table this past year at Terrificon. I was actually waiting to talk to Mitch, and you were away from the table, and Walt actually came over looking for you. So I was like, oh, is that something? Are they working on a secret project no one knows about yet? Did I just see the beginnings of something?
Walt and I worked on a project together. We did an 8-pager for Batman, one of the great honors of my life, and he was very. For people who don't know, Walt keeps all his art. He has all his art from Thor. And from many of his other, huge books he's done over the years. But he gifted me a page from the book we did together, and I have it, again, a page I have up on my wall from Walt.
Oh,
beautiful.
I love that.
That's why he was visiting my table, because he was giving me that page. How sweet is that?
Oh my God, I love how this story came full circle.
Which page is it, Tom? What is it from?
We did a story that was, I I told you earlier I wrote Batman's death. This is sort of how he died. It was sort of how he got cancer. I talked to Walt. It's like we have a page. I think it's in Detective 1027. I was like, what do you want to? I called him. I said, what do you want to do? And he's like, can we do Dr. Phosphorus? It's a character I created in the late 70s and I haven't seen used enough. So I wrote a story about how Batman was fighting Dr. Phosphorus, and that's how he got in saving the city from Dr. Phosphorus. This is a little thing I stole from Jim Starlin's Captain Marvel, another book I love. He got cancer because Dr. Phosphorus is who is Alan Tudyk. Man, this is a very big circle. He got cancer from that, and later on you kind of see him die. So again, it's a page where Catwoman is holding old Bruce's hands at sort of the end of his life, and that's the page he gave me. It's a splash.
Beautiful. All right, a more fun question. Tom, any chance of seeing you at Heroes Con? Best con ever for comics and con creators. Tell them, Cliff. Well,
dude,
yes, Tom.
Hey, I love Heroes Con. I was a big regular there. I went there I think like 4 or 5 years in a row. And I love it. I love the auction. Best bar con, for lack of a better term, like where creators and fans are all in the same place and we're all talking. No, I absolutely love the con. I haven't been in many years. It's a little awkward for me. I'm in DC to Charlotte. It's like a 7-hour drive, but it's like a half-hour plane flight. It's one of those awkward distances where it's like too short to fly, too long to drive.
It's a lovely. If you can get a half-hour flight, do it. I'm sitting over here debating a 2-hour flight because I drove 15 hours last year.
Yeah, so that's but I just got an email about it. I would love to do it again. It's one of my.
You should absolutely do it. There's still
one
time.
Of my favorite cons.
Okay, so we're gonna see you June 12th. I look forward to it. I'm very excited. All right. That was all right. From fun question to Gravitas Errant. I feel like F it is a great approach to C-class characters. You see it in Doom Patrol with Grant Morrison, Iron Man with Favreau, Andor with Gilroy. Can you say F it more often?
Yeah,
for the C-list characters at least.
I agree, man. You got to take risks. Sometimes they don't pay off, man. I've taken risks that haven't paid off, but if you're not swinging from the fences, if you're sitting up here bunting every time, I've seen many creators who just come and they're a little scared. And I've been a lot of things in my career, but I haven't been scared, so I'm proud of that.
Legion says, "All right, good night, y'all. See you at Heroes."
Good night.
Very good. So, I'm sorry, Cliff. Go ahead. I apologize.
We only have 2 more. I missed this one earlier. How does it feel to now be like some of the characters you write? Immortal, forever your name will live in pop culture, literature, and movies.
Yeah, because I said Kite Man, hell yeah. That's going to be my legacy. That's people always remember.
Okay, great follow-up question for me. When did you decide that you were obsessively in love with Kite Man?
Well, you're not going to like the answer because you threw Frank Miller under the bus earlier. It was my shout out to Frank. If you read Frank's Daredevil run, he has Stiltman as a reoccurring character, and I put Kite Man in as a shout out to Stiltman. So it was
interesting.
And you know what?
As I built it, and as I said earlier, Peanut, my oldest is named Charlie. I love Peanuts comics. And people don't know Kite Man's real name is Charlie Brown, and the idea of Kite Man is he's always a loser, never comes out, just like Charlie Brown. Like the kite always falls, always eaten by a tree. So the Sir Charles Schultz of it all, plus the Frank Miller of it all, 2 of my heroes in comics, and tributing them both in this one character is kind of how I got obsessed with it.
I love it. All right, last saved question that I have. Oh my God, big shout out to Kite Man, of course.
Hell yeah.
And so, E-Man's World of Geek. This is, okay, there is a certain style to Tom King's writing. Which superhero, mainstream or indie, needs to be written in the style of Tom King? I feel like needs might be too much of a struggle for you, but perhaps one that you feel your touch would make a nice pairing.
It's never mattered to me what characters I write. I think just like every human is incredibly interesting, every comic book character is incredibly interesting. If you brought me the most boring human on the planet, I'd be like, oh my God, how did you win that award? My God, that's incredible that of all the humans on the planet, you're the most boring. That's a story I want to tell. If you brought me the second most boring, people would be like, what must it be to have just missed being the most boring? Like I think so. There isn't one character that I think we could find something interesting in. But if you ask me to pick one that I think would be that I would love to dig my teeth into, I really my probably I said Superman. But my other favorite character, I love the Thing from Marvel Comics. I love the Nuff Said. Maybe my second favorite comic of all time is a Marvel 2-in-1 annual number 7, where Thing gets the crap beat out of him, and all the other Marvel heroes are beaten. But Thing's the one who rises off the mat, and he asks him why. And he says, "I'm too ugly to quit. I'm too ugly to quit." Oh man, I would
Too
love
ugly
to
to quit. I mean, I'm not sure if I have that handy here. You know, I'm not sure.
I love that series. God, I love it.
I don't think I have the annual ready.
Mark
There's
Grunwald, Tom DeFalco, Ron Wilson.
Yeah, everything I love. Everything I love in my childhood. Look at George Perez cover, by the way, and interiors.
That is a page I don't have. I don't have any pages from 2-in-1. That's like on my Grail list. I've seen a bunch. I just haven't found the right one that I want to pull the trigger.
You got it. You got to. I was gonna say the longer you wait, the more expensive they get too, just to make it worse.
That's the truth. Ain't that the effing truth? Sorry.
And I was gonna say, and I got this dollar bin diving. Sure, it's water damage, but I love it. It's like the third or fourth appearance of Thanos. He's still.
Yeah, wonderful. And I used that was my relaxation comic. That was my, like, in my 20s when I was like, the world is too stressful, I need to escape. It was Marvel 2-in-1. I just go to that thing. It just felt like floating on a cloud. I love it.
It's true. It is my comic book version of my Bob's Burgers. That is
such a perfect metaphor. It is Bob's Burgers in comic book. Yes. Wonderful. Also, gotta love Bob's Burgers.
Oh, Rob Wurst at Not Near Mints. Wow, Cliff, you have one of my favorite comic book writers of all time here. Yes, it feels like a miracle for all of us.
It means a lot to me. Thank you.
Also, someone said, Z Adams said, like Good Night from the Adamses. I don't know if you know them personally or not, or they just feel super attached to you, but I felt like I should share that. I should pass that information along, And now also, I can't stop fantasizing about you and I working on a Freedom Fighters series together.
Let's do it. Well, it starts here.
It starts here. Picture it.
Human Target started by someone shouting at me on Twitter, "You should do Human Target," and I responded with a stupid joke, and the editor called me and said, "You want to do Human Target?" That's literally.
Oh my God!
So who knows where comics come from? And hey, to answer an earlier question, I won an Eisner for that.
Yes, you deserved it. I loved it so much, and your use of fire and ice. Thank you. It was just so good. Like you called upon. You called upon the elements of Justice League International, and you worked with it.
Once again, going back to Keith and James Amadis.
Oh my God!
And Kevin McGuire. Oh man, I'm gonna see Kevin McGuire on Friday. He's an awesome fun. So
oh my God! Please tell him that this rando named Cliff, like Clifford the Big Red Dog, just absolutely loves him.
I absolutely will. Cliff the Red Dog.
Oh my goodness! Did it feel good to wrap up Bruce and Selena with Batman and Catwoman? I thought it was fantastic.
It felt good. But I have to say there's some bittersweet to it because of kind of how that whole thing went down and how it all ended. So it felt wonderful to write. But I do have some. I wish I controlled the world and was God of all comics, and I could go back and fix some of the things that happened. But yeah, it was good, but not perfect, I would say.
Yes, it is.
All right, and
Rich, you have more questions.
Yeah, absolutely, because Tom has been so gracious with his time, not making a face at all. So,
well, I should go at some point because I have to go to sleep.
I'm going to wrap these up real quick. 3 real quick Mr. Miracle questions.
Wonderful. Let's go.
Where does the Mr. Miracle animated series currently stand in development, and how is it revisiting this series alongside Mitch Gerads once again?
Those are both brilliant questions. It's being made right now. It's not. If you've development is the thing that happens before it's getting made. These are kind of Hollywood terms, but yeah, we're in the process of making it. We're not developing anymore. We're in the process of making the show. Okay. And it's going brilliantly, and we're working on episode after episode. We're recording voices and doing designs and making our first animation tests, and it's wonderful. Mitch is a producer on this show, is one of the designers of all of everything you see. But beyond that, he's my partner in all of this. Every decision I make on the show, he's probably annoyed at me, but I call Mitch and I was like, what do you think of this? What do you think of this? I want to add this scene. I want to take that scene out. I have this line. I have this line. Here's a cut. He's involved. He's just like he is on the projects we work together. He's not doing that. He called me once and was like, thank you for, I was like, this is not, I'm using you. I'm thanking you. Cause he has the keenest eye for how to do art and what looks good and what would be amazing. He's got an incredible story sense, and I'm just grateful to have him as a partner, because he's freaking amazing at what he does. What a gift to work with Mitch. So yeah, it's been a joy. I'm seeing him this weekend. Osaka, he's one of my best friends, and it's super fun watching his vision come to life. It's great.
Can you share how many episodes it's going to be for the series?
No, I can't share that, but soon.
Okay.
Okay. I have some. I have a follow up. I think you can answer. So you said you're actually the show is in production, right? So perhaps you can tell us, without giving anything away from the show, but what is in production like? Like, what is that phase like? What goes into that without actually saying anything? Like, you talk about like what the arc should be and who's going to be involved. Like, what is that in production portion actually like?
Well, I mean, I'm show running, and I'm also running every single episode, which is the Taylor Sheridan, Mike White kind of model. I've had to do a show if those names mean anything to people. And so what it is a lot of work. It's 24 hours of work every day. So you write the episode, but then you have to audition, each character, you have to cast each character. So, and that goes from, Mr. Miracle to a nurse who has one line, every single person. And then you have to read them. You have to direct them when they read. You have to get the right reads. Then you have to edit what they said. And so that's on one level, it's working with all the actors and getting all that straight. And on the other level, it's working with all the visuals. You have to make sure all the designs look good, that, this is obviously drawn. So there's that element of, Mr. Miracle's apartment. Does it have a poster on the wall? Doesn't it? Just like tiny little details like that. And since in animation, nothing is by accident. Every single thing is on purpose. You have to be like, how thick is his beard in this scene? How thick is his beard? Like those are just tiny decisions you're making every single day. And then working with the animators and the directors on a show of like, okay, you wrote this, how can we approach this? What kind of shots do we use? Are we working more in like a Spielberg style or a Soderbergh style, or a PTA, style, and working with the animation directors on how to get the tone right and how to get this. It's my favorite thing I've ever written. I think it touches a lot of deep issues. But it's a tough tone to take, because it's a show that's about suicide, but it's also a show that's about recovery. It's not about falling down. It's about getting up, and to get that across in the tone, to get both the seriousness but also the love and joy is a delicate balance. And so we're working on that just every single day on all those different levels.
That's amazing.
Tacoma asks, "Is Cliff playing Darkseid?" Tacoma, we cannot confirm nor deny such things. Okay?
Could be. Never know. You never know.
It couldn't be. I mean, Weird Al has once played Darkseid. Anything is possible. Because Megan Effect has many abilities.
That's true.
Okay, so Not Near Mint is asking, any changes due to the Paramount deal, which I don't think is a done deal, right?
Yes, the Paramount deal is not a done deal yet. So it's more the Paramount offer. So we'll see what comes in the future. But so far, we're full steam ahead.
Okay. Now, with Mr. Miracle animated series becoming a reality, can you take us back in time to where you were in your life personally and creatively when you wrote that award-winning series?
Oh yeah, I can take. I'll take. It was 2016, which I think a lot of us think of as when the world kind of got off its axis a little bit. And things got weird, and we had no idea they'd stay weird. So it was right after it was in sort of that period when things were odd. And I remember as the world was kind of changing in that way, people being like, well, now, maybe the world's odd, but we're going to get some great art, man. I mean, the last time the world was odd, we got punk rock and hip hop and all that things. And I remember thinking they'd given me, we talked about vision earlier. Basically what DC said was, can you do another vision? We'll give you as much creative freedom as you want. We're going to give you your favorite artist and room to run, go. And I remember thinking, I was like, shit, those people are talking about me. Like, I'm the one who has to like make this art. I know that that's an arrogant thing to say, but sometimes arrogance drives away doubts, so you can get past a blank page. And so, in order to write something good, I wanted to write something personal. And I've talked about this a lot, but I had just gone through this thing where it had sort of one of the kind of first season of Sopranos panic attack things, where you think you're gonna die. But you just turns out you think you're gonna die, but it turns out you're having a panic. You end up I ended up in the hospital where I'm like, I talked to the doctor. I was like, yo, am I dying or am I crazy? And you want him to say you're crazy, and he's like, no, you're just crazy. And then you're like, oh, woohoo, I'm not dying. I'm not having a heart attack. He's like, but you're crazy. I was like, oh fuck, I'm crazy. And so I used Mr. Miracle to write about that experience of recovery, of realizing like I had hit a big wall and what that wall sort of meant to me on a personal level. And then Mitch and I are very, people who are fortunate enough to have built amazing families. And so we put a lot of what it's like to build an incredible family. And that could be the family you build with your friends, the family you build with your partner or your kids, but what it means, to come from a hard place and to build another family. We put a lot of that in the book as something we relied on to get back on our feet until we could run again. So yeah, that's what that book is about.
I want to mention something that I found very powerful that you did in that series, because the Barda that we're seeing throughout the majority of the series is subconscious Barda. It's her in his mind, right? It's his internalized version of her.
That's
correct?
One interpretation.
That's one interpretation. But I'm just saying, like, because he's going in and out of stuff, right?
Yes, yeah.
And obviously there are things that actually happen because, hey, like Ramvi has run with them having the baby and all that.
Although it's a different baby that Ramvi had. They have a daughter now instead of a boy, Jacob.
Continuity schmontinuity. So like, no, but anyhow, what my takeaway that I thought was so beautiful is that Barda is his strength and his light throughout the series. So even whether it's really her or when it's not really her, she is still that force for him, and that like he loves her, and that's who he sees, right? And I thought that was like, I don't know, like that's the way I took it. I thought it was so beautiful, and like, I don't need you to confirm that for me. That's just my takeaway from the story.
No, I don't think whether it's real or not, Barda is definitely the light of his life, and he's the light of hers. They share that. They're both. I mean, these were two people that were raised in hell, and made to be demons and tortured in their childhood, and it was Mr. Miracle was the first person Barda saw who had some rebellion in him because he'd been from a different planet, and that's what inspired her to rebel. And Barda was the first person Mr. Miracle saw who had the strength to believe in him and to believe it was possible to get out. And that's what inspired him to get out. So these are two people that inspire each other to reach beyond the limits that were placed upon them. And I've written a lot of love stories, and I don't think I've written one as good as Mr. Miracle.
And I have their wedding issue.
I love it.
I love it.
And of course, that's all based on the Roz Kirby relationship. So it goes right back to their creators. Wonderful.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Bart is very much based on Kirby's wife.
Oh, very cool. Now, with Mr. Miracle being pitched as an adult series, what level of adult are we talking about?
I know. I think that'll come out when the series comes out. But yeah, it'll be. I mean, look, I'm writing it. I love the comic. So it's obviously going to be very based on the comic, but it's going to be based on the comic and this is why Mitch and I have had, this is kind of a unique experience. I mean, I'm sure it's happened before, but Mitch and I have had 10 years of people coming to our booth and saying, we love that moment. We love this. We had a question about this. We've been doing this for 10 years, people asking us. So it's our chance to take not just the thing we created that was great, but also to interact with that audience and be like, we know you had a question about this, let's expand upon it. We know you love this moment, let's make sure this moment hits as hard. So it involves, it's both the comic plus 10 years of talking to fans about the comic and getting that love into the book. So what is in the comic will be true to the series. And then the comic is, that's not like, unlike Supergirl. You can give Supergirl to your 11-year-old daughter. You can give it to your 90-year-old grandma. Mr. Miracle, I don't think give it to 11-year-old daughter. It's more of a mature book, and I think the cartoon will reflect that as well.
Amazing. You've been amazing. You have told us some great stories. My one last thing I could beg you to do is just be like, give us the perfect bumper. Be like, hey, this is Tom King, and you are watching Behind the Panels.
Hey, this is Tom King, and you are watching Behind the Panels. Thank you, you awesome nerds.
Yay.
Bravo. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your time. You're amazing. I hope we can do this again when you're promoting something big again. This was fantastic. Thank you, Tom. And thank Mandy.
Appreciate you. Oh, Mandy's the best. Mandy is my assistant who makes everything work. I appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. Comics is a hard medium because it's costly. It's something you have to keep up with. It takes a lot of time. But what it really is every comic book is a ticket to the conversation. You guys are that conversation. So I would not have a career. I would not be able to put food on my table if it wasn't for what you guys do every day. And I'm infinitely grateful for it. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right. I appreciate it, guys. I'm going to sleep because I got to record some actors in the morning. You take
Absolutely.
care.
You go do that. Have a great time. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Have a great night. Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful evening.